Welcome back to another episode this week of the Menopause Coach Podcast with me, your host, as always, Adele Johnston, your menopause coach and educator for the next 20 minutes or so together. Now, this episode this week is a really important one, in my opinion, and I know that if you've read the title of it, you are definitely here for a reason. We are looking at women cannot outsource their health. And you've heard me talk about this across different podcast episodes in many different ways, but I don't know if you'll have heard me talk about it exactly as we're going to touch on everything together today. So hello and welcome back. It's amazing to have you here. As always, I love to hear from you. So before we even start this episode, please drop into either the comments, the emails, the DMs, wherever you follow me, wherever you want to chat with me, come and share with me what comes up when you've listened to this episode today. This week, I want to talk about something that I've been thinking about a lot. And I wouldn't even just say recently, a lot in general, but even more so recently. Menopause support, women's health support, and where I honestly believe that we are heading over the next decade or so, collectively or individually, okay? Because I think that we're asking the wrong question in the space of women's health and menopause care. I hear so many people, women in particular, say things like, I was never told about menopause. I didn't know anything about this. My doctors never explained it to me. Why does nobody prepare women for menopause? In fact, my own 15-year-old girls had asked that question recently. Why does it feel so hard to even just get the simplest of guidance or even some initial support? And these are completely valid questions. They're probably questions that you yourself have asked or you've at least heard another woman say. But I want to offer another perspective today because I think what can happen over time is we can sit inside the energy of being annoyed. And when we're annoyed and frustrated, we are anchored into that type of energy on a downward spiral. But what if the issue isn't that healthcare is failing women? Hear me out, because I know you've heard me talk about the NHS and the healthcare system here in the UK. It's no different to anywhere else in the world apart from, at times, many women are facing a lot more disparities and a lot more negativity towards than what we do here in the UK. But what if we've been expecting, now hear me out, okay, eyes and ears just wide open to this for a minute, that the healthcare system is there to provide something that it was never actually built or designed to provide in the first place, and has no appetite for actually ever fulfilling or providing what we need, but is simply there pacifying us with some little tidbits of we'll do a hub here and we'll do a change there. And inside the women's health strategy right now in the UK, there are so many points in there that were meant to have been met in the 2021-22 delivery of that strategy that never were. Before anyone in the medical space comes for me, it happens a lot. Okay, this is not a criticism of medicine. It's simply recognizing that medicine and health are not the same thing. Healthcare systems were largely built to diagnose disease. They were there to treat illness, or are there to treat illness and diagnose disease, to intervene when something goes really wrong. And it's not what the National Health Service or the NHS here in the UK stands for, in my opinion, in its title. It is not a National Health Service. It's an acute illness service. But because menopause is not a disease, it's not an illness, yes, it can play a role in disease and illness for many women, but it's not a disease in itself. It's a transition, a deeply human transition that impacts hormones, metabolism, our identity, our confidence, our relationships, our sleep, our energy, our recovery, our body, our motivation, our well-being, all and everything impacted during this phase and this transition for many of us. It's a deeply human experience, right? And women are looking for support in all of the places where actually we're turning up to GP appointments or medical appointments and not getting what we need from them. Maybe the support needs to exist somewhere different than the medicine or medical space alone. And that is what I'm inviting you inside this episode for today, to pay attention to what I'm calling the expectation gap. Let's go into this together, because I think today we as women are standing in a really difficult place. We've been told for decades, centuries even, to trust the experts. Listen to the professionals. My dad worked in the NHS, and all my life he would say things like, we just need to listen to the professionals and trust them. And of course, I grew up believing that. I grew up believing that that's what we were to do. We would show up to the expert or the professional and they would have the solution for us. And if they didn't, that they would always know better and we would follow their guidance. I always believed that they knew best, and I'm sure you do too. But we've been taught to follow instructions where there's no clarity behind that direction. Women are way more informed than ever now, and I honestly, genuinely believe that we're in this generation of menopausal women who are here to unearth, to pull apart, to challenge the status quo, the norm and the ways that it's always been done before. It's like my inner Black Moon Lilith is in her absolute happy place because she's like, we get to change this. We get to question this. We get to look at, well, why is it being done that way? And then rewrite the rules in the process. Yeah, that inner rule breaker in me is so like, let's do this, right? But we're starting to ask questions, you and I now, as women. We're starting to read research. We're starting to go deeper into learning. We're noticing patterns. We're noticing differences. We're recognizing where we leave appointments and don't feel heard or feel seen or feel resolved or feel directed or guided. And often we walk into these appointments wanting the answers that simply just cannot ever be delivered to us in that appointment space. That is not your GP's fault. And it's not because these professionals and our GPs are not caring. Yeah, they wouldn't be in that role if they didn't care. But it's because the system was never designed for long-form education. We don't have the capacity to deliver that. It wasn't designed for behaviour change and behavioural coaching. And it wasn't designed for helping women understand how strength training affects hormones and metabolism, or why protein matters so much, or how stress impacts all symptoms of menopause, and why sleep changes everything. And that expectation gap that we're sitting in leaves us as women feeling very unsupported and very unsure. But unsupported doesn't mean abandoned. And I want to cover this. It means evolving in a space where we have the opportunity and the option to change this. So this leads me to bring in the bridge. I talk about the bridge a lot with my students inside the MSCC, my Menopause Support Coach Academy, where I educate PTs, health coaches, any frontline member, nurse practitioners, dentists, someone who wants to be frontline in menopause care. I educate you for this. And I talk about the bridge because this is between the healthcare system and everyday health for us as women in menopause. This is where I think something really important is emerging, and I'm watching it happen. I believe this is one of the most exciting shifts in women's health that will happen forevermore. Okay, where coaches, PTs, these frontline practitioners, health educators, community leaders like you, maybe if you have a community group, not about replacing medicine, may I add, okay, this is outside of that scope, become the bridge between clinical knowledge and everyday menopause life. The bridge between women in menopause and midlife and the expert, where the expert doesn't understand what women are experiencing because they've maybe never had that education. Because the truth is, most women don't live in doctors' environments, offices, medical spaces. Nobody loves to be there, right? We as women live in places like the gym, workplaces, school runs, relationships, heightened stress response, sleep deprivation, impacts of menopausal symptoms. And that's where health actually matters. That's where it happens. Okay. And who sees those women in those environments? You do. I do. We all do. We are in those environments. Yeah, we notice the energy drops when someone says something like, I'm training harder than I ever have, but I'm just not seeing the same results. Or I just don't recognize who I am anymore. I don't recognize my body anymore. I don't recognize my emotional self anymore. I'm exhausted. I'm not sleeping. I'm doing everything I used to and nothing works anymore. It's us. It's women. Yeah, it's coaches, it's PTs, it's people in the front line. The trainers, the conversations inside communities. It's the lunch break walks with colleagues. It's like an epiphany moment, right? And I think that it's these people that are becoming the translators, the bridges and the translators, helping women to understand what is it that your body's going through and how we can communicate that. Helping women ask better questions, feel less afraid, be more supported, help them to connect, that there's a change in their biopsychosocial version of themselves as they move through this and their lifestyle's impacted. We're not diagnosing, we're not replacing medical treatments, but we're creating informed women, and that is powerful, so bloody powerful. Which brings me to the point around women cannot outsource their health. You've heard me talk about this before. What I mean by this is that, and I keep coming back to this time and time again, when I talk to women openly, whether I'm presenting, training, or educating, it does not matter. This topic, this theme always starts to come up. As women, we cannot, you cannot, and I cannot outsource our health to a space or an expert, in, inverted commas, expert, that does not understand our own body. You don't understand mine. I don't understand yours. Yours is yours. Mine is mine. Theirs is theirs. Yeah. That doesn't mean that women are responsible for fixing everything for everyone. And it also doesn't mean actually that we just have to overcomplicate situations. We can no longer hand over complete ownership and expect that someone else just knows exactly what to do for our bodies better than we can. You are responsible for your body. It is yours. It is not your doctor's responsibility. So because nobody lives inside your body except from you, only you can understand how it feels. Noticing the energy shifts, noticing the changes, noticing the things that feel good, don't feel good, and everything in between. No one feels your lack of sleep. So one person's tiredness is someone else's exhaustion and so forth. Nobody experiences your stress. Nobody sees your patterns the same way. And I think for far too long, women have been taught to disconnect from self. We've never actually been given full permission to be fully connected to self. We've been taught to ignore our symptoms, push through. It's like, we'll just keep going. Wait until something becomes so serious that it tips from the health care side into the acute illness support, where your National Health Service sits. But what if instead we taught women to become experts in their own bodies, in themselves, not even just the physical body, every part of what makes you you? Yeah. Not about anxiety, not about being obsessive around things, but become the expert in self. To understand what is it that's affecting you and your body, you and your emotional self. What helps you to recover? What helps you feel strong? What changes do you experience across your cycle? What's changed for you in perimenopause? What support do you feel you really want and need right now? Because that hugely changes everything, massively. And if we get to start breaking this generational barrier that we sit within at times, and for many generations across many religions and many cultures around this world, this is true. And this is the part that matters most, in my opinion, because this conversation isn't actually about menopause right now. It's about legacy. It's about rewriting the rules. It's about sitting back and observing what I'm seeing and going, wait a minute. We've got some things we need to change here. The women before us often had limited language around menopause, and changes that they faced. And in some cultures, we still have that today, where there are no words for menopause. limited support, limited education at their fingertips. And many women, even today, still suffer very quietly. Many women normalize feeling exhausted because it's what they've always known. Many women believe that discomfort is just a price of being female. Yeah, every month having a menstrual cycle or navigating menopause is just part of it. And we kind of shut up and get on. But what if this is the generation, me and you right now, that gets to change that? What if we do change it? Imagine that for a moment. What if women today become so connected to their health, to their self, to their bodies, to everything around the energy of you, that our daughters inherit something different? That our granddaughters inherit something different, that those around us that we influence also go on. It's the ripple effect of one person's change and the ripple effect that that has around the world. No fear around it, not silenced around it, not, can we ever eradicate complete confusion? Possibly, but at least we can definitely reduce it. We have literacy around women's health, changes in menstrual cycles, menopause, all of the things that sit within the confused state of mind right now. We have self-awareness, so powerful. We have strength, and we have permission to openly ask for what we need and what we know we want as we navigate these changes. Because if women of today don't become the experts in themselves and their needs, if you don't become the expert in yourself, your body and your needs, then we risk repeating these same generational cycles for more centuries to come. And I don't know about you, but I'm not willing to let that be the case for my girls. I'm being that rule breaker, that Black Moon Lilith energy that goes, rewrite the rules. These rules are crap. These rules are crap. They need to go. Yeah? What if we do become the generation that breaks that? What if we do become the generation that stops waiting for someone else to come in and scoop us up and rescue us, and we become our own knights in shining armor? We are those powerful women. Oh my God, I've just had a moment of like a flashback to the movie with Wonder Woman. You're going to get it, right? Where they're all on the island and they are powerful AF females. They take no shit from no one. They absolutely own their own protection, and they're there inside this community, this connected sisterhood, and they're literally like, we will fight for what we want and need. And for me, I feel like there's this massive awakening right now in the spiritual sense, in the physical sense, in the medical space, where we're just sitting here going, I'm not going to wait for someone else to come and rescue me. I am part of the generation that builds the support systems that work, that shares the support systems that work. And that is partly what this episode and this entire podcast is designed around, where you can come every single week and listen to something that either gives you the knowledge that you need or gives you a little bit of a thought file process where it's like, wait a minute, are you willing to just sit back and let that be? Or are you willing to actually step in and learn a little bit about your body and what's happening? That is why I designed this podcast all those years ago. So important. So where do we go from here, you and I? Because if you've listened to this today and you're wondering, okay, I feel fired up, but what do I do with this? Or you're kind of like, what do I need to take, Adele? Tell me what I need now. What do I need to go do? Well, I'm going to give you 3 invitations in this, 3 things that I want you to take away. The first thing is notice. Just notice your body communicating with you consistently, constantly throughout the day. Listen to her. What is she saying? What are you feeling? What are you observing? What are you noticing? Get curious. Every part of your body is yours. Okay? If you are feeling that vaginally things are feeling different, go look at it. Get the mirror in between your legs and look at what is different or changing or doesn't seem right for you. It's no different to you checking inside your mouth or under your armpit or between your toes. It is part of your body and it is beautifully yours. If things are changing, check them out. Your body is communicating with you all the time. Number 2, learn. Learn and choose one thing this month. Just one. Maybe learn more about sleep or gut health. Learn more about strength, learn more about hormones and the endocrine system, learn more about nutrition. Whatever it is that you feel called to go do some learning on, go and read, listen, watch, just learn on it and build your understanding. And number 3, build your team. I've talked about this before, your A team, your A players in your life. Build your team. Stop looking for just one person to have every answer for you. That is not your GP and it never will be. But maybe your team does include your GP, of course. Maybe your team includes a coach or a mentor or an educator. Maybe your team includes a personal trainer or a community or network of lived other experiences that you can bring into this. It does not matter, but it needs to be curated by you for your own needs. Yeah, because health becomes powerful when it becomes collaborative. Health is not something you're meant to do alone. And as menopause support becomes a powerful tool in your toolbox to make you your best possible self, if you are working with a PT or a coach, go and speak to them about whether they are menopause educated. Yeah, are they certified in this space? And if not, then guess what? You know a beautiful menopause support coach certification inside my academy that they can come and explore, right? How amazing. They upgrade, you get better support. But I honestly really believe that the future of menopause support is not about choosing between medical care or lifestyle support. It's about building the bridge between them. It's where women like you and I are so informed that we get to be supported individually and collectively. We feel empowered. We're deeply connected to ourselves. And because health was never meant to happen in appointments, health is not about the acute illness side. It's about everything before then. The most powerful thing that we can do is to teach each other what we learn. Evidence-based, please, always, right? Where's the research? What have we got that backs it? And make sure that we all have that first do no harm approach to how we educate each other. Not depending on medical systems, but confidence in ourselves that we can come and we can learn in environments, whether they be like podcast episodes like this, or whether they be deeply rooted inside educational spaces like my academy, right? There's so much in there for every single person. We've got Reclaim You, which is a beautiful 5-module self-study mini course for any woman in menopause to take. Okay, you don't even get assessed at the end of it. It's just purely for you, for knowledge and awareness purposes on what is changing in your cycle and in menopause. That's available to you. You just need to come and ask for it or jump into the show notes, drop me an email. We've got everything right up to our full certification. Beautiful certification, 12 weeks to do your initial certifying, 12 months inside our women's health and menopause education lab, where we work with you deeply on integrating your skills and your knowledge into the women's health and menopause space. This is about building a better world. Okay, the bridge. The bridge is huge and we need it because you deserve better. I deserve better. We all deserve better from now and in the future. And for some of you here today, you might be listening to this and thinking that you feel ready to step inside the world of menopause support coaching for yourself and start to help other women with their journey. Well, you can. I have something for you to get started and it's not going to cost you anything. Okay, in the show notes, you could have got full access to a training that I've done. It's over an hour long. I done this inside my Menopause Coaches Masterclass recently and the feedback on it has been phenomenal. So you can click the link below in the show notes, add your email and it will be delivered straight to you to watch back. And inside of it, I teach one of my proven methodologies around my 3-part coaching triad. I want to try and help you to see that this is an invitation to just explore this space. And if this feels like it's an area that calls you in, then you have an invitation to come and study with us. Because women's health and menopause support coaching needs you. It needs all of us. This is not just for one person to do. And our next MSCC Academy cohort is about getting started soon. So if you want to be in that, please go check out the free training. If it speaks to you, we'll have a conversation and see if this feels aligned and you can come and join us. I want to thank you for listening to this one because this was brought to you purely from a place of complete love, compassion, but also from a bit of a plea that we have some work to do, you and I. As a collective, of women. This episode is here to help that resonate. And if it has done, then I would love for you to share it with at least one other woman who needs to hear this conversation today. And I will see you next week. Thank you for being here, as always.